with the Russians if they don't make a deal. Like he's using Venezuela to justify what he would do to Russia, and what they've done to Venezuela is ridiculous. I mean, it's pathetic, really. And Maduro's still in power, has more support from ever from his people, has great deals with Russia and China now to better the Venezuelan economy.
And the irony is that the current leader.
By the way, how is that any different than what you see in the concentration camps during the Holocaust? This pisses me off.
Yes, this is why I wanted to show these photos.
That's a scene of Venezuelan people, mostly innocent, that were captured by the Trump regime and sent to the sellout regime of Bukele in El Salvador. That's an outrage. How is that not Guantanamo or the concentration camp?
Exactly, and for context, for people to understand that they are using the lie that all these people are Venezuelan gangs members. There probably is a small amount, okay, but still there are working class people that have green cards that just look Latino and have tattoos. That's what ICE is looking at.
About on the
and they are taking them away.
There was a guy, I believe, was born in El Salvador, but he's not even a U.S. resident. He's a U.S. citizen.
Yes, exactly. He was with
his 5-year-old autistic child in the car, and they arrested him, and they immediately deported him before they even found out what his status was. And Trump saying, "Oh, there's nothing I can do."
No due process.
To make a fucking phone call to Bukele. This is like when Biden said there's nothing I can do with Netanyahu in the genocide. Make a fucking phone call. You're supposed to be better than Biden. Come on.
No due process. What else? I guess that doesn't matter anymore. We don't do due process to people that we want to hate. They don't get just like what's happening in Bridgeport.
You understand why I've said in the past, and I still stick by this, that the immigrants should start to arm themselves?
Yeah. No, I totally
better
agree.
To go down fighting than have to be humiliated and tortured in a dungeon in El Salvador, for God's sakes.
Yes, and they're going to use them for labor because this guy Bukele, he wants to be the law and order leader. And by the way, he's Palestinian descent, which is so ironic, and he's pro-Israel, which is also so ironic.
Well, he's just like DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled in Miami, who never said a word about the genocide in Gaza, is only Palestinian in blood, not in Palestinian in culture or in his spirit. I didn't know that about Bukele, but he's just as Palestinian as DJ Khaled is. A total sellout.
Yes, he definitely is. His
Spanish,
family.
They would call him a vende patrias. That's what they call those types in Venezuela. Vende patrias. Those that are willing to sell out their own country. And guess what? The head of the Venezuelan opposition, I said this yesterday, Maria Machado. What has she said about this? That she supports Bukele's actions against her own people while Maduro's advocating to get them out. Some of them were able to get out to neighboring Honduras, which is allied with Venezuela, to get back to their country. But Machado supporting what they're doing to her people, just as she supports the genocidal sanctions, just as she supports a foreign invasion of her own country, just as she supports, like Trump, moving her country's embassy to Jerusalem. She shows support for the Zionists. These are the sellouts that we're talking about.
Right. And it's very sad when you see someone who comes from, because they left.
Look, he's doing the Nazi salute just like Elon.
Yeah,
his parents left. Like Central American Malay in Argentina, although Malay is probably going to be impeached soon. I don't see Bukele going to be impeached yet. They should have a revolution or overthrow him, though. That's indisputable.
Word on the street is that he's still very popular for him cracking down.
He's not popular with the working class. The working class have their sons and daughters in prison that are innocent. Right. He's popular among the elite and the oligarchs in El Salvador that are backing him in the military.
Yeah, and so this is what Trump justice looks like for people that have green cards and citizens that look Latino.
I'm sorry, I don't want to say diaspora. He's popular with rich Salvadorians that don't want to live in their own country, that are ashamed of being Salvadorians, that own condos in Miami. So those Salvadorians you encounter in the United States that are upper class and rich, they like him. And the elites in his own country like him. But let's not make it where Bukele is supported by the Salvadorians overall. No, they're very revolutionary people. They have a history of militancy. It would be very offensive to say that most of the Salvadorians support him. I disagree with that.
Yeah, no, I didn't say it as it was fact. I said it as it's been reported. But we all know that majority of the things they report is actually not true.
If you're talking about the bourgeois press, yes.
Yeah, the bourgeois press, they just want to make sure that they are able to cover this up as much as they can. You know what I mean? They want to make sure that People don't see this as being what they actually is: concentration camps. You're kidnapping people.
You think that
You're
those
not
guys
giving them a
came
due
with shaved
process.
heads? Those guys did not
Shaving their
arrive with
heads.
shaved heads. They
Yeah,
shaved their heads to make them look like gangsters, to
yeah.
dehumanize them. What did
I'm
they do
trying to
with the
find the
Jewish
video where
victims
they
in
were
the
shaving their heads. I can't
concentration
find it.
camp? They shaved their heads. These
Yeah,
are Nazi tactics.
very much Nazi-like, and this is what America is doing. We have another concentration camp up and
They're
running right now,
proudly
ladies and
doing it.
gentlemen.
They're even
Just
making
like,
cartoons. The Trumpers are making cartoons to brag
mhm,
about how they make women cry that they kidnap and send to El Salvador.
right, just like what we did to the
We're probably
Japanese.
being raped by the prison guards, just like with the Palestinians from the Israelis. You want
Right,
to talk about rape? There was no rape on October 7th. But the rape was on the other side.
right.
This is the essence of projection.
Yeah, and it's just like what we did to Japan. Um, we put Japanese people in camps because we felt threatened, that thinking that every Japanese person is going to attack us.
Yeah, but those
When,
people, they were put in bad conditions. That's correct, but they weren't tortured. This is something even
mm,
worse.
mm. Yeah, and it's labor camps. It is just like it's just like Nazi Germany. So anyone that doesn't want to come to terms with thinking that Trump can't be compared to Hitler, you just don't want to
Well,
accept
why
the
are they
fact.
wearing masks? Just like the Gestapo, known as
Yes,
ICE, wear
dude.
masks. The guys in the prisons in El Salvador are wearing masks because they know what they're
Right,
doing is illegal.
right. They're wearing masks because they don't want to be identified.
They are the criminals, not the ones
And
being held.
and if you're working a job where you have to wear a mask so no one can identify you at a labor camp, don't you think that you're on the wrong side of history? Like, you don't want to assume that maybe that you should reevaluate yourself? You know what I mean? It's like with the ICE agents. You know what I mean? Like, you're tearing families apart. You're watching children become
I
father
mean, Khalil's wife, I
motherless.
believe she had the baby already, but she was there when they arrested him. These cowards were manhandling a woman 8 months pregnant and throwing her husband in prison, who was a legal resident, because of his political views. This is supposed to be the anti-censorship party, the Republicans. This is
Right.
the hypocrisy that we're facing of the empire right now in decay.
Yeah. And I totally agree with your assessment with saying that this empire is in decay. I
Can
totally
people
agree.
understand now why nonviolence a lot of times doesn't work? It works in certain situations. But if
Mhm.
you're dealing with bullies, they just see it as a weakness. They're going to keep beating the women and doing rapes and God knows what else. If nobody's standing up like gangsters, which you have to be sometimes,
Yeah.
and fighting, for your rights. Even Colonel West, who his entire life has advocated nonviolence, has said,
Right.
"Don't get the gangster in me." Like, he warns people, "I got a gangster in me." Oh yeah, the gangster in me will come out. Even
Yeah.
a gentleman like Colonel West says that. And yes, sometimes you need a gangster in you to fight on the streets, to go down fighting, or to fight and successfully resist the fascist forces, the Gestapo, that are known as ICE.
Yeah, exactly. And we should wrap it up soon because I have another engagement to get to. But I want to also mention the fact that, you know, I want to give a shout out to the Native Americans who are literally making sure ICE has no type of support in their tribal lands, like the Lakota. They're telling them to leave.
That's
That's
good.
true resistance, and
I
they,
witnessed that when I was in Standing Rock, the rebellion there, and that's good that there's Native American solidarity.
yeah, they are totally fighting against ICE. They also have armed resistance as well too, if needed. I haven't heard any gunfights come out yet, but
Leonel
they are
Peltier is free. I don't know if he's going to get involved with that this time, but he's
right.